know when these mics are
Are
hot,
you now? Do you have dual citizenship? No.
God, I wish I did.
Right. Just curious.
Don't we all?
You be gone.
Just curious.
Listen, I have an older brother who's developmentally disabled, and if RFK Jr. makes his registry of disabled people, yeah, I would be gone. Because that's the first thing the Nazis did, and then they killed them. So,
Right.
So my son has Down syndrome.
yeah.
You know, actually, it's hard to hear you.
It's hard to hear me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's fix that.
Yeah.
Well, this mic doesn't come
Oh,
out.
that?
now it's better. Now it's
That
better.
there is better.
Yeah.
I don't
can
know.
Hear you
It's
now.
Better?
better. I think
Yeah.
Richard did something too. I think Richard did something to change it.
I
Okay.
did.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, Richie,
Yeah, he
tell you,
did. He
the
did.
wizard, the wizard.
yeah.
The wizard.
That's a very
Yeah.
radical movie when you think of it.
Oh, it is.
Oh, get
Yeah.
me started.
words,
I love that
The
movie.
people in the government who control us
Yes.
and are pulling the levers of power.
Oh, yes.
When they're exposed, they have no answer.
Right. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. Right. Not you. Not you. The other ones. The other ones behind the other hidden places. Anyway, but we're ready. We're ready when you
All
are.
right.
then.
When you see the timer count down to 0, you are on the air.
Oh,
okay?
so all the stream has been accepted everywhere?
Yes, both Facebook and YouTube
YouTube.
has accepted the stream.
And for the Western New York Peace Center.
And you want to remind me to
Please.
put it on their
Yes,
site?
I am reminding
You want me to do
you
it
right
before
now.
we go on the air?
Well, you can do it when we go on, whenever you think is a good time. It's fine.
Okay, I'll do it after we officially start the show then.
Okay.
All right. So when you see the timer say you're on the air, you're on the air.
Okay. Welcome to Talking Peace with the Western New York Peace Center, being recorded here at Think Twice Radio in the home of the future, also the home of our friend and producer, Richard Wicca. Thank you, Richard. We also thank our friends at WBNY, Buffalo's original alternative radio station, 91.3 FM, where we'll be broadcasting. And WBNY comes from our friends at Buffalo State University, and we're very grateful to be part of the WBNY family. And when I think of thankfulness, I think of our friends of color, especially our indigenous friends who we're on stolen Haudenosaunee land right now that it was taken through trickery and violence. That is Seneca land, Anondawaka land that we're on right now. And I think of our indigenous friends and also our friends who were enslaved and brought here against their will. So all of those injustices did not diminish people's courage and thankfulness, in spite of all kinds of hardships, in spite of all kinds of injustice. That there is such a spirit of thankfulness that permeates people who have really suffered, and certainly all of those people. The Haudenosaunee start every one of their events off with a Ganonyo, which is a Thanksgiving address, which basically thanks all the people who are there, as we do thank all the people who are here and who made this possible. Thanks Mother Earth for providing us everything we need for a good life, if we would only not spoil it. That for all the wonderful plants, medicinal and nutritional plants, and all the animals of every kind, small, large, crawling, flying, four-leggeds, all of them, and all of the different aspects of this creation, certainly including the sky world and the sun and the moon and the stars, and the creator and the love that animates it all. And so then they would say all of that, and sometimes at great length, and then they say Nyahweh, and the people say no. So I will say Nyahweh.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's very similar to Ashe and that spirit of thankfulness. And we want to have that. I'm very thankful for the friends who have come here, friends of the show, new friends of the show, older friends of the show, younger, older friends of the show. Anyway, and we're just grateful to have this show and this opportunity to celebrate or prepare to celebrate International Day of Friendship, and to really focus on our relationship with Canada in particular, and also about just reaching out to across difference and across, you know, the aisle or the silos or everything. So that's what we'll be talking about today, and we're very grateful to have three wonderful people to join us in the discussion. So first, Jerome Wright. Hi, Jerome.
Hi.
So, friend of the show, you've been on this show many a time,
Yes.
and so many other ones too. And we're just grateful for all the work you do, especially with the Jails Justice Network, with the campaign for alternatives to isolated confinement and halt solitary. So many wonderful and so critical work that you're doing, very painful work that you're doing. So thank you for that, Jerome.
Thank you for this opportunity. It's always a blessing to be in your company in general, but to be able to speak to our community, unabashedly, that's what I look forward to.
Well, we're grateful. Thanks for coming. And Kate Powers. So, Kate, you've been the primary organizer for a couple of very significant local events that we've had that are in solidarity with Canada, and you're the main organizer for the one coming up on August 16th that we'll talk plenty about. So, and you do all kinds of other things. In fact, I know you and Jerome were just getting together over, theater in the incarcerated spaces and everything. So I know you do all kinds of things. Welcome, Kate.
Thank you so much for having me and inviting me into this conversation.
Well, we're so glad, and I'm so glad Alexica can join us. Alexica, who is the Western New York Peace Center's intern and also a specialist year student about to graduate. Well, fairly long. You're more than halfway, or just over more than halfway through.
Yeah.
More than of this year.
Of this year.
Fordham's online MSW program. So welcome, Alexica.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
Well, we're glad to have you back, and especially I know you were very excited about some of the events that we had and that we're having. So, anyway, without further ado, if we just go around the way we like to. So if we're thinking about International Day of Friendship, if we're thinking about solidarity, especially with Canada, or just, solidarity in general, which is part of what we're sort of turning this discussion into, what are the values that you think of? So if we just go around briefly on the values that we think of in connection with solidarity, with friendship, with international friendship, etc. So, Jerome?
Value. I always struggle with value because people put values out there and they determine what they are for themselves. There used to be a formula to this, and now it's what everybody thinks they want to say because it's popular or trendy. But the value that I think is most important here is humanity.
Mm-hmm.
That
Right.
it is such a farce that we're anything other than the same. That the outside exterior of us determines anything other than the shell of the humanity that we're in, and they've done a yeoman's job in creating this division amongst humans.
Right.
Because if we start
Right.
from humanity, then you don't have all these other problems, because I see you as a human being rather than whether you're black or white, whether you're a Jew or Gentile, whether you're non-binary or binary, or you male or female. All these conjugations take us further away from the
Right.
essence of what we should be, the value we should be espousing to each other, and that's our intrinsic humanity. And once that value is established, then people treat people the way you're supposed to treat each other. I want to make one caveat there. They call this city the city of good neighbors.
Right.
Neighbors, friends, all of that's in the same. Well, we listed in the top 10 every year as being the most segregated. So I guess
Right.
it depends on what neighborhood you live in. A neighbor is whoever lives next to me, whoever lives in my community, whoever I
Right.
come into contact with on a daily basis. Those are
Right.
it is not relegated to my residence, and it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely not relegated to race or creed or financial economic status. Is based on the fact that I see you as a human being, you see me as a human being, and we understand what that is. The most special species on this planet, and we treat each other like the least.
You know, I just want to thank you for all of that you just said, and it's only reminding me of why, some of the reasons why you got an award from the Western New York Peace Center, because you know just that clarity of vision about how we need to act, what we need to do.
Speak from we and not me. And
Right.
that's it.
Exactly. You're so right. Kate?
Well, that's a hard act to follow. So I'll reinforce all of that. I would add, or I would just modify to say dignity, respect, empathy,
Right.
celebrating those differences rather than othering through those differences, and accountability, right? So if I tell you I'm going to do a thing, I'm going to do it. And if I don't do it, then I'm going to hold myself accountable and I'm going to make amends
Right.
for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you're just making me think, and it's always the right time to do right.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's a lot of people not bearing that in mind right now. So thank you for that, all of that. Thanks, Kate. And Alexica?
Well, I think about allyship, right? What does it mean to be an ally?
Yes.
Right? So, I also do trainings and stuff in my regular job. And this was a conversation that came up today is like, what does it mean to be an ally? Right? Can I call myself, can I label myself an ally? Or do I have to show it through action? And I think that we all came to a consensus that it could be small actions. It doesn't mean like, something big, but it has to be something that is actionable and shows your allyship. So I think that's part of it as well. And we're seeing it more with, events that are showing our allyship and saying, hey, this isn't okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you. You're just making me think of, I like to quote Cornel West when he said, if everyone had moral integrity and universal solidarity, we would get where we need to go. So that what you're saying about allyship. So it's not just the lip service, it's the really truly being an ally, and that takes courage, especially in this environment. And what we see so much of the time, that's not what we see. There's a cravenness. There's a real fear that is, rampant. But there's also, alongside of that, there's a ton of courage. There's so many people who are speaking out clearly, boldly, taking those risks, etc. So, anyway.
Just about the allyship, I definitely agree with her from the point that that's what we need. But I think we're at this critical juncture in this whole movement where allies are superfluous. What we really need is accomplices.
Oh, that's what people have been
Co-conspirators.
saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
But whatever, what I think is part of it is just the word that's used. When I say, the word that's used, when I say we need courage, that is the courage of real, if you call it allyship, if you call it accomplices, if you need the courage to stand up. I know all words. Actually, some people, I do, think that things, there's a sort of a way that everything is connected. So it's another way of looking at the same thing, or making a further distinction on the same thing. So that, it needs the action. It needs the bold
that's like
action
the
and
piece.
the courage.
Like there needs
So
to be action.
Whether we
Skin in
call
the
it
game.
ally or call it accomplice, call it you're doing something with courage to actually stand up for with your friends.
And I agree with you. In principle, they're synonymous. But when we're talking about this work, I don't think they're that synonymous. I think when most people call themselves an ally in this work, they empathize with the situation. They try to understand it from your point of view. They think it's wrong. I don't know what to do. But when you're an accomplice, you're in it. You know what you. It's like you said it. Skin in the game. See. If you don't put yourself in it, then you're not. I don't need no more allies, man.
No.
I don't need anybody to say you're right.
But
you're
you
right.
need the action.
I don't need nobody to say. But the action can't be. Some people think the action is saying you're right or standing with you, which is all part of it. But there is a distinction. We need people now who are ready to put their neck on the line, like I put my neck on the line, like you put your neck on the line, like she's putting her neck on the line.
But that's
what
why
we
I
need.
said courage, and that's why she said action. So, but it's good. It's a good point to make. Certainly that is important. And honestly, I mean, to me, there's no other way of looking at it. My dad, I'll bring up my dad's experience as a German Jew. That he had the courage and well, it wasn't so much of allyship in the sense of being a German Jew in Nazi Germany in 1933 as a 15-year-old boy. So it wasn't like he was trying to save other people. He wasn't trying to save himself either. He was trying to make a bold statement when he refused to say Heil Hitler in front of the whole school when he went to get his prize in relay for the relay race. So what I'm saying is, I think that, in this context, what we really need is that courage and the people standing out and I think, not to be too harsh on what people can do and what they're willing to do, because if we get people moving, they keep moving in a direction and they're lock arms with other people, they'll keep going. So, you know what I mean? We don't want to discourage people from whatever stage they're in of resistance, because we can grow that resistance. That's what I would say. So thank you for bringing up that point, because that's a big point. That is a very big point. Yeah. And actually, some of the things we're talking about are really scary and threatening, and some of them are really not that hard as beginning steps or, just sort of getting yourself into the mix. So before we go too far afield, if we could just talk a little bit about the history of the United States relationship with Canada. So the relationship with Canada.
Just that part.
Yeah. No, not the entire history. Yeah. Oh, we could talk about that. And really,
from Pangea.
Yeah, we're going to be a minute.
I want to say, actually, the way we started off with the Gnono and the land and enslaved peoples acknowledgement does acknowledge that very clear history of racism, oppression, violence, and everything else that is our, history.
Right.
So people are trying to rewrite history as well, but we are not. So let's just go around a little bit on, or if you want to leap in, because you were about to.
Yeah, if I just could say one thing about,
please.
I think when we think about Canada, the United States, and Mexico, right, in the context of what you're talking about, Vicki, for the first peoples of this continent, this was all Turtle Island.
Right.
And it was only when white colonial settlers arrived, right, and decided to divvy it up and put other labels on it. But if we go all the way back, it's all Turtle Island, right? And so the boundaries are already, sort of artificial.
Right.
To begin
Absolutely.
with. Right.
Totally. And you're only making me think of Eddie Izzard. Anybody know Eddie Izzard? He's Canadian.
Yes.
Yeah. And when he says, yes, they came here and, so when the English came and they planted their flag and the indigenous people, they said, well, this is for England. And then the indigenous people said, well, we're here already. And they said, yes, but do you have a flag? We have a flag, So, I mean, that the ridiculousness of that. So thank you for that. you want to add something on the history from your perspective, Alexica?
Sure. Well, I grew up in Buffalo, so there was always this really good relationship with Canada. I grew up
Right.
in Buffalo in the 90s, right? And so kind of seeing how that relationship has kind of dissolved, or not dissolved, but just what's going on right now, it's
Right.
just, it's so just absurd to me. Like it's not even sad, it's just absurd, like, because we're so close, and
Right.
it almost feels like, you know, that these are friends of mine, that these are neighbors of mine, these are
Right.
people that we interact with. They're literally right across the border.
Right.
So it's, I guess from my perspective, I don't know a lot about the history of the friendship between Canada, or the relationship that Canada and the U.S. have, but just from my own perspective, it and you definitely feel it. Just like anecdotally, like you feel the issues starting to rise on the other side when we're going to visit. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and especially with all the belligerence that's come out of the White House, that
Yeah.
just that heinous statements and just, you know, creating problems where there were no problems. So, yeah, it's very, very significant. I really appreciate what you said about it all of the borders being so artificial, and also they've been movable. They've been moved through trickery or violence as well. And it just makes me think of one of our Western New York Peace Center members has a red hat, looks like a MAGA hat until you read it, and says, make Texas Mexico again. You know, I mean, it was make Texas Mexico again. So, I mean, all of that big fight, you know, because it was just about fight. It's about territory. It's about ownership. And actually, lots of different cultures say, you know, nobody owns the land. You know, it would
Nobody
be,
does own the land.
yeah.
No,
Go ahead.
It all goes back to what I was saying at the beginning about divide and conquer.
Exactly.
When it was
Yep.
the big turtle, nobody talked about this corner in the east, on the east side is mine, or this is,
Right.
it was communal land.
Right.
And we bought it rather than capitalized, and all that, and then you get the colonizers come in with this new brand of everything that takes away from the original or the indigenous intentions that people had. Talking about Canada, let me see something. I learned mostly about Canada when I was locked up in Clinton Correctional Facility because it's so close.
Uh-huh.
Where, like, you can see the border out the window of
Really?
your cell, and so you get a lot of programming that's local to the jail because it's close to Canada.
Right.
And you get a lot of information. And I learned so much the years I was there about things I would have never known because America's never going to espouse them. Like their entire judicial and criminal justice system is what we should have here. It's just totally that much different. And the landmass difference is not that much, but
No.
it's like that. I've always, as a black person, known that Canada been a welcoming place for people of my descent coming through slavery,
Right.
escaping, all type of punishment. So it has always been a place where I felt that if I had nowhere else to go, I could go to Canada because they would welcome me. They would, they would envelop me and treat me, like a human being as opposed to the
Right.
way we were being treated here. So also to see that relationship devolve into what it is now is painful because it is about humanity and there's no humanity in the discourse that's going on now.
Right.
It's about control. It's about power.
Right.
We said we came from a kingship over here to start something new, and now we're back to a kingship.
Sickening. It's just sickening. Kate?
So it's the longest unguarded border in the world between the United States and Canada.
Wow.
We fought together during the Civil War.
Right.
There's a Freedom Park in Buffalo, and directly across at the narrowest
Right.
point of the Niagara River, there was
Right.
a Freedom Park on the Canadian side, and it was
Right.
where people were self-emancipating and folks on the American side and the Canadian side helped them get across that river.
Right.
It's the end of the Underground Railroad.
Yes.
We don't talk enough about that piece of our history in Western New York
Right.
and in Southern Ontario. We fought together at Normandy, right? In California, when there were those terrible fires in January, it was Canadian planes that came to help put out the fires, right?
Right.
The history is long, it's rich, it's deep, serving together. We had the Friendship Festival for so many years in Western New York and Southern Ontario. I sort of think we need to get it back, except first we got to rebuild the trust with our Canadian friends, because the Trump regime has broken trust, has broken faith. You were saying all those things, and it's the grift, right? Like
Oh,
these
please,
tariffs
yes.
and the
Yes,
game that he's playing.
yes,
This is the grab them by the pussy guy. When you're famous, they
Right.
let you do it, and he's trying to grab Canada,
Right.
right?
Right.
He sees this opportunity to acquire, and he even this week, the tariffs on Mexico are a little bit less burdensome than the ones that he's now inflicting on Canada. And I think, this is my pet theory, is that he's trying to make it such an undue burden on Canada, these tariffs, that they will relent and give in and say, okay, fine, we'll be the 51st state. And I think it's obscene
Right.
what this
Oh, it's
regime is
sickening.
doing. I mean,
Yes.
there's so many things. We're not talking
And
about
so illegal,
so many of the things,
too.
but
A
this,
lot of them.
just focusing on this one for the moment, this is obscene. This is unjust. It's a violation of trust. It's a violation of friendship.
Right.
And we got to stand against it.
Yes. Yes. So really, that's a perfect segue into, maybe, Alexica, if you want to touch, I know you were at both of the Elbows Up events on
Yeah.
the 5th. You want to talk a little bit
Yeah,
about
it was
that?
really amazing, and just like seeing that many folks and being able to see some of the folks waving from the other side. And it was just really inspirational. I saw people that I did not expect to be at that rally. So it was like, oh, you're here? I was very excited. So it brought people together.
Yes.
It let me know who a part of my circle that I had no idea was going to attended. So, and it was, that was the first one. The second one was even better because it was like international. There were so many people in the Niagara Falls area that day, and people just asking questions and getting involved and singing and,
Right.
just, it was a beautiful show of our solidarity between our countries. And I think it really kind of was very impactful with seeing so many people from around the world just
Right.
there sharing that with us.
Right. It was.
Yeah.
It was really something. And of course, the setting had,
Yeah.
to be on Terrapin Point at sunset, and also we had some excellent drumming going on, which we made it it just gets the spirit moving, and that's why, as you say, the people singing and everything. And the other thing in the other one, when the people were stretched from sort of, let's say, the heart of Freedom Park, right, the beginning of that, and that beginning of that bird walk, all the way down to the Peace Bridge, all the way down. And they could have been, we probably could have, if people really spaced out, because people were standing next to each
Very
other,
close, yeah.
so it could have been even longer. I mean, it was long, but then they have a barrier down there because they don't want people walking down further, because there are some spots where it gets kind of, difficult to navigate. But it was so well done, and the speakers, and of which you organized everybody and got everything together. It was just very, very well done, very moving, very great to be at, very inspiring, and really just I think of as you were saying, that the Underground Railroad, the people who were gratefully received in Canada, also for war resistors in Vietnam, at the time of Vietnam, and also more recently during the whole war in Iraq and everything. There were a lot of war resistors or people who went AWOL to Canada and got a tremendous amount of support there for a very long time. For refugees also. I mean, so
The
Canada,
Ukrainian community in Canada is huge.
so the goodwill that Canada has shown, and not that they're perfect, and they have a little bit some of the same bad tendencies that the United States has. However, there's still so much more awareness of the humanity, as you say, the humanity of people, and bringing people together or treating people more humanely. Yes, there are some problems, underlying problems. It still, was started as a colonial venture. There's problems with the indigenous people there have gotten a raw deal. Absolutely, with murdered and missing indigenous women over there, astronomical numbers. So that is also true. But while that's true, it doesn't mean, that the history of friendship isn't something to be cherished and nurtured and held up, instead of like just trashing it, and just the violence and the inappropriateness of what we're hearing from this administration is just, sickening is the word I keep using, because it's infuriating, because it's just so wrong and it's just so counterproductive.
No,
Jerome?
I submit to you, like she said, her pet peeve thing or her pet thing. I look at it that the reason why we having the problems that we have in this relationship is because of their welcoming, because of their history of looking out for people like myself, looking out for immigrants, looking out for war, what they consider war dodgers, or anything negative that Canada has embraced is a slap in the face to them. So now is a time where you can say, if you want to be this punk part of the land and allow people to come up there who we're slaving, we're setting the war, who we do kicking out, then we don't like you neither. That's why becoming the 51st state is such importance, because then you dictate to them that you can't do the things that they've been doing with that border, that have been friendship-like, that have been humanity-like. So that's why they treating them worse than they're treating Mexico, who they know Mexico has a government that treats its people as bad, in most cases worse than this government does. So they're symbiotic in that relationship. But when you have somebody like Canada who will stand up for humanity, will stand up for disadvantage, who will welcome and support those who being, oppressed, then you're the real enemy.
That will give people national health.
Yeah.
Yeah. Things like that.
I'd like to add something to that. I think it's that, but I also think it's a lot of distraction because of the absurdity of everything.
Yes,
like the 51st state, the Gulf of America, all of those things are distractions.
Other thing. I respectfully got to disagree with you about that. I don't think it's a distraction, because he wants the natural resources Canada has.
Yes.
No,
and
for
he wants
sure.
more white people. He doesn't care about Mexico because it's filled with brown people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. He wants to consolidate and have that landmass, and he wants that landmass to face off against Russia. So I don't think it's a distraction. I think it, and actually I think a lot of the things that we talk about as distractions, like we can hold more than one thing can be true at the same time.
For sure.
Yes.
There's a lot of terrible going on at the same time, and the Jeffrey Epstein business doesn't take away from the predatory nature of what's happening with the Canada-United States relationship, and doesn't take away from the fact that there's a genocide in Gaza, right? Like,
for sure.
You know what I mean? All those things can be true at the same time.
So, so that it is a distraction, and it's also its own thing with its own motivations and sickness and unfairness.
And he's pissed off
as
40
well.
million people in Canada pretty good.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And of course, there was just an article in the Buffalo News today. Today, we're taping this. By the way, I want to just recognize that we are taping this on the anniversary of 80 years since the bombing of Hiroshima. But anyway, just another example of U.S. Might is right kind of, just illegal, immoral, unhealthy kinds of thinking. So we have, the U.S. has ebbed and flowed. It's back to what you said about two things being true at the same time. So it's true that it's a distraction. It's also true that it's also of its own terrible reasons for it. One like
Those resources
the
and all of these things that he wants.
It's like the what is it, the Monroe Doctrine on steroids. It's like an empire actually empire
building.
Yeah, empire building is so big. So shall we go around about the Well, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I
know.
just wanted to
Yeah.
say that one thing with Donald Trump is the first time he says a lot of things, many people go, that's ridiculous, right? And then the second time he says it, they go, no, 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 really. And then at a certain point, he said it enough times that through this kind of numbing repetition, his base starts to believe that it's a thing they've always wanted. And so part of this conversation we're having right now, and part of what this little subsection of the movement is about not normalizing the idea of Canada being the 51st state. It is
Right.
messed up on its face. And we
Right.
need to keep naming that is messed up on its
Exactly.
face. Right? And we need to not
Exactly.
normalize these appalling tariffs. They're not reciprocal in any way.
Right.
But he keeps using the word reciprocal. And so people then quote that back. Even what you might have thought were credible news sources keep using that phrase. And I want to trouble the ways in which what he says gets repeated until it starts to sound like it's a true thing.
Well, I need to say that is what, I mean, he takes so much right straight out of the Nazi playbook. It's shocking. So Goebbels said exactly that. You know, if you repeat a lie often enough, everybody will believe it. He also said that the bigger the lie, you know, the more that will work, right? So these are all things, these are all, and the whole goal of getting people so that we don't believe anything, right? So that
Fake
there are no
news,
facts.
yeah.
The fake news, firing people for giving facts, you know, that when I just heard, you know, about how he that because the White House was kicking up a fuss about the impeachment exhibit at the Smithsonian, right? That they removed it to examine. It's so ridiculous. It's about, we already know this, with trying to not talk about slavery, enslavement of people, trying to rewrite history. And it's just reminding me of 1984.
But we be trying to rewrite history. That's all they have ever done.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
This isn't
from
the first time.
Columbus. I mean, what is that?
Right.
See, this is
Right.
This is my problem with us in this country. We have situational amnesia that we forget. If it's not on the front page of the news, which they create, which they decide
right.
what's the news for the day.
Yeah,
If it's not on
absolutely.
the front page of the news, we forget. We just totally forget. Whether it's the Hitler playbook, the Genghis Khan playbook, it's all the same thing.
Right.
They are working from a position of white supremacy. Number
Right.
one, as you say, we
Yep.
want this white country all for our own. We want to extract the resources from everybody so we can have
And
the
the
best
greed,
of everything.
so greed,
right?
yep. White supremacy,
This is
greed.
not anything.
Wait till
new.
he finds out how many brown people there are in Canada.
Oh my God! No, but that's what you got to do. See, when you make it the first state, then you can start to get people out, like they're doing immigrants here.
Like they're already doing.
Right.
Yep.
So that's what
Yep.
they do. They start from these are gang members, and everybody's oh no, and then it's
Of course, they're
somebody
not
else.
gang. They're
right.
not
Well,
gang.
even though that
Oh,
they're
right.
not, but you tell a
Right.
lie enough, these are gang
Right,
members.
right.
Even when you got people over there, who people saying this is the wrong person, you got to fight to get them back. Why would you have to fight? If I made a mistake, my bad, terrible as it was, come on back.
That's
now I
how
gotta
bad-
get. But
that's
this is
how
what I'm
bad they
saying.
are.
You
Right.
know, this is where we're at.
Right.
The one thing I will say, whether it's the relationship with Canada, whether it's our relationship with each other, Martin Luther King said it best. The people who are silent right now are our worst enemies. It has nothing to do with the other side. They're doing their job. They're playing from their playbook. We're offering pittance and resistance and commentary about it. We are letting them do what they want to do and cribbing, complaining to each other on the low, and not standing up with the courage that you say we need to speak truth to power. And power is not those who think they're in power. It is to the people. Because my message may resonate only with a segment of the community. If you're saying the same thing and your resonates with yours, that's what we have to do.
Well, I think when you say there's pittance worth of resistance, it's back to both things being true at the same time. It's pittance in a way, it's substantial resistance in another way. There's a lot of people, whether it's everything from the late night show comedians to the If Not Now, who took over, and had 40 people arrested over at Trump, to there's lots of ways. Even actually, what really moved my heart is after they've sort of outlawed DEI the way they tried to. First of all, misrepresenting what it is, which has nothing to do with anyway, they're just very confused about the way they're doing it. However, so one activist, he said, well, his daughters at his daughter's school, they had a celebration of, I think it was it was Black History Month. They were celebrating Black History Month, and he felt like that's resistance. That's resistance. Now, it's on a very micro level, but that is resistance by, people who could get in trouble. It's a school. It's a public school, I'm pretty sure, that we're talking about. And, and they're doing what they're doing. So, and this is why I said what we need, we need to move people along. So, for wherever we're at, to just push ourselves a little bit more, to what we're comfortable doing and what we're able to do. Because I think in the end, we're going to have to, what my belief is that, we need to get active in every kind of way.
But we talked about this from the very beginning. Allyship, action. When I say a pittance, I don't throw words out lightly or I mean in relation to the problem, in relation to the people that it impacts. Mm-hmm. It is a pittance. I'm not saying no, I'm saying something, and I don't consider myself to be personally a pittance, but in relation to the enormity of the problem, the crisis of the situation, and the amount of people impacted, it is a pittance. Mm-hmm. It is a small number. But let me make this clear. Margaret Mead said it best. It's only a small number of people who ever get these. But still, it is what it is. That two things could be true. It is a pittance. That's all I'm saying.
Right. No, and I didn't disagree with you. I said it back to, I love this. Epictetus said everything has two handles, one by which it can be held, one by which it cannot be held. So that thinking of, the amount of resistance, whether it's a lot or a little, whether it's sufficient or not sufficient, all we can do, I think what we do is just try to grow it in every kind of way we can to, build that moral integrity and universal solidarity, that clarity, that courage, all of that. And I think we try to feed that in every way we can. And some of them are these events. So if we could talk a little bit about the event that's coming up on Saturday the 16th, we'll have maybe Jerome. First of all, you're going to be there, right?
No.
Yes.
I originally, you let me tell me. I will. We will work on some, but
you can't make it after all.
Right. I am.
Okay.
I am going to be in New York City for an event that I was asked to go to, and at first I thought I was going to be able to do this and fly down, but the time on them conflict.
Well, those things happen.
No, yeah. Mm-hmm. The time conflicts, but I am committed, though. Mm-hmm. I am totally committed to the prospect of us working through this in a more cohesive way. I think that our communities have been disparate and not working together, and I think this is the time when we get our communities to work together. Stop Stop playing to the outside narrative and play to the narrative that we decide, and that's that we need to come together for the betterment of everybody. Like the rising tide lifts all boats, and we're all in this together. And so I want to be the first to come out and say for my community that many of us will be participating, and we want to show solidarity because remember, the same people who show solidarity to you,
Right.
you owe a level of responsibility to reciprocate. And so that will be happening. And I think that when our community realizes the closeness, not just in proximity of landmass that we are to Canada, I'm talking about in history and in
Right.
respect for each other.
Right.
And what they've done for my people, period. Then they would be more compelled to be involved on a level other than that we've been involved on now, which is pittance. Believe me.
Well, we keep working. We keep working. Go ahead, Kate.
Well, I'm sorry you're not going to be there, but I think you're right. I think Buffalo is really good at silos, and not all of them have oatmeal in them, right? Like there's a lot of this group over here and this group over here, and part of what we're trying to do with the event on August 16th, we are working in partnership. Our national partner is an organization called Friends Across Borders, and I am taking that in several different senses, right? So our friends across the Canadian border, across the Mexican border, our Ukrainian friends, right? And also all of the communities sort of within Western New York who don't always talk to each other, the most segregated, right? How do we start to do better, right? How do we get each other into conversation? And so what's a little bit different about this event from some of the other events in the Resistance this spring is this is not a rally. This is not Niagara Square. This is a community gathering. This is us coming together, connecting, hopefully having a conversation with somebody you never had a conversation with before. We're going to do a little low-key teach-in kind of thing. Each of our speakers is going to stand up and say, here's 2 minutes on the thing that I'm most interested in talking about. If you want to be part of that conversation, come find me at this picnic table. And so then you can sit down and break bread with people and have a really intentional conversation that is about coming together. It's about contesting the lies that this administration is telling. And it's also about identifying those actions that we can take together to keep fighting what's happening to this country and the ways in which our democracy is just being pulled apart piece by piece by these guys.
Right. I'm so glad and grateful. Do you want to, Alexica, can you just restate the time and place and everything about, do you remember offhand or?
For the International Day of Friendship?
Yeah.
Yep, it's going to be on August 16th at 4 p.m. At Beaver Island State Park at Picnic Table 5.
Picnic Area 5.
Picnic area.
Oh,
I'm so
I didn't
sorry.
know
That's
that
okay.
part.
Yeah, Picnic Area 5.
Yeah.
Oh,
I do remember Picnic
Oh, good.
5.
Yeah.
Picnic 5.
Very
Yeah, but
good
you went to
job.
Picnic
See,
5,
yeah.
they might not know who you are.
Right, Picnic Table 5 might be like, who are you? We're having a family reunion. Picnic Area 5 is sort of
Area
separate
5.
from the beach. It's separate from the golf course, and
Okay.
it's right on the river. So we do have a clear line of sight
Oh,
to the marina on the Niagara Parkway on the Canadian side.
Oh, okay.
We'll have picnic tables. We'll have our different speakers. We'll inviting everybody to like pack a picnic for themselves and a friend, so that we can all break bread together. Hopefully, this one's more kid friendly than Niagara Square. We're looking at maybe flying some kites, maybe painting some faces, but all being together. Because the other thing about this, right, is they want us scared, they want us feeling defeated, they want us feeling tired, overwhelmed, and afraid and helpless. But if we come together, then we realize we're not one twig, we're a big fat bundle, and that's a lot harder for them to break.
Right.
Amen.
Well, I think, back to solidarity is just so needed. And injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So we're seeing that. We're seeing it of course, we've been seeing it all along in the criminal justice system, which is a criminal, I like to call it the criminal injustice system.
Yes.
Criminal injustice system. It's definitely criminal and it's unjust. And then we're seeing it in the workings of ICE and Homeland Security in a way that is so destabilizing. There's nothing about security in it. It's totally about insecurity. It's
Terror. It's about terror.
masked people just causing havoc and fear, kidnapping people, abducting people off of the street, the wrong people for no reason or no good reason. It's just crazy making what's going on. And then it's just upside down, the bizarro world, when so people are getting Medicare taken away from them, Medicaid taken away, I should say. Medicaid, I'm sorry, not Medicare.
It's Medicare next. Don't worry about it.
What?
I'm sure
It's Medicare next. Don't worry about it.
Right. No, it's just about taking from the people who need the help and giving it to the people who don't need the help, so the 1%.
It is the
So this
American way. Why are we talking like this ain't what this been? This is the American way.
But it's only just gotten so very much worse. So that
Well, it's gotten more blatant.
more
But
blatant.
it's been the same. This is the same playbook. Nobody's changed the playbook.
Well, it's back to, I want to say there's been a little bit of this that goes on with our political situation. So it's more like the golden, a golden era is back. What did they call it? During the Roaring 20s, when
Gilded Age, you
the
mean?
Gilded Age. Thank you. That's the word I'm trying to think of. The Gilded Age kind of thing. Where Trump is building a ballroom for the. It's just so outrageous. It is just infuriating.
It is.
However, I do want to say, we will just keep building our solidarity and our ability to mobilize, to connect over difference, and to really come together, so that's what we're going to have to do in the end. Because I'm going to say, we barely got him out the first time when he was not elected and they tried to have a coup. And now, so this is this is resistance right here as we're talking on the radio, on the video radio show, so it'll be, what evidence that, we're just going to say what needs to be said. And that is the courage that ordinary people are showing when they are speaking out, like we're speaking out right now, like they speak out in different settings at so many rallies by showing up. They keep showing up, and then we build from there. So people's ability and willingness to take that bold step increases the more you do it, and you see that you have the solidarity. You see that you're not alone. You see that, your friends, your allies and accomplices are there with you, participating together, because that's what we need to do. Because we're all connected, and we will all. It's the old, what you were making me think of before. This Martin Niemöller quote where he said, they came for the trade unionists, but no, and then they,
I wasn't a trade unionist, so I didn't say anything.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And then they came for the socialists, and I think it was the opposite way around. But whichever way it was around,
Yeah.
they come for different people. And then when you don't say anything, and you don't say anything, you don't say anything, and finally in the end, when they came for me, there was nobody left to say anything.
I've seen a couple of posters at events this spring that have said, there's profanity coming here because it's what was on the poster.
No.
Okay.
Then no, sorry, you have to bleep yourself.
I'll bleep myself. Okay.
Thank you.
But it has said, first they came for the immigrants, and I took action because I've read the effing poem.
Excuse me. You can't say that on. We'll need to go back and put that out. So, never mind. So, keeping on. There's a lot that we need to do. But I think people can definitely come. People should put it on their list, put it on your calendar to come. It'll be it's August 16th, Saturday, August 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at Beaver Island State Park at the
Picnic Area 5.
Picnic Area 5. And people should pack their lunch. I think that's one thing that people may not know.
Yep.
So they need to know that too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pack picnic for yourself and a friend. Also, if it's within their means and people are able to do it, we're asking them to bring prepaid cards that people can use in the grocery store, and we're going to donate all of those to Justice for Migrant Families of Western New York.
Oh, that's nice.
Very good.
That's nice.
Very
And
good.
you say, is there any opportunity that there will be vendors out there?
So here's the thing. We tried.
Okay.
We tried really hard.
To get some.
I reached out to, I think, every food truck in Western New York about 4 times. And, summer in Buffalo, right, is busy.
Right, sure.
And
On a Saturday.
On a Saturday afternoon, everybody was just booked. So
Right.
I'm gonna have to cater that just to no, but
Right.
that was our original hope, was to have a handful of food trucks there and, make it,
So
Right,
people
right.
give
could
it that vibe.
bring. Right.
but
right.
we've, so far, we've had no joy in
But
getting
it's
a
only
food
2
truck.
hours. I think people can stave off hunger for that.
Yeah.
If it's a little longer, I would think you need to make some, because carrying your lunch is not an easy thing, especially if you're bringing kids and everything.
Sure.
Just something you want to consider.
Right.
Before it gets too we get too far off the
Yeah,
topic.
no, we're getting
it's all right.
towards
No, but
the-
it's all right. No, I just want to encourage people, man. That anybody that
Yes.
sees this, hears this,
Yes.
that if not now, when?
Right.
When are you going to get involved?
Right.
It's not.
Thank
Are
you.
you going to wait
Yes.
till the guy in the poem, till there's nobody to help you fight
Right.
back, or are
Right.
you going to get involved now? And we talk about courage and allyship, confidence. The really getting involved is first making yourself knowledgeable what's going on.
Right.
You can't even act unless you know from an informed point
Right.
of view. Find out.
Right.
Google some of us in our organizations and find out what we're doing. It may not be what I'm doing, may not be your cup of tea. What she may be doing is. And so you don't have to be involved with criminal justice matters. It may be in social justice. It may be in another thing. But get involved in
Right.
something.
Right.
We can't keep on blaming Trump or Shrump or anybody else for our own failings to act,
Right.
for our own failings to chart the course of our lives. If you're not gonna say nothing, somebody else is going to do it for you. And I'm just tired of hearing people, young, old, in whatever circumstance you're in, you can do something.
Right.
You can do something.
Right.
You can find out who's doing what,
Right.
and then they'll give you something. If you want something to do, they will have something for you to do. Something in your wheelhouse too. They're not gonna
Right.
give you something to do that you're not gonna be walking 10 miles if you don't have no shoes. But
Right.
you will be sitting there licking 10,000 envelopes maybe. But do something. Be
Right.
you know what? Here's my final word. Be part of the solution and stop being part of the problem.
Right.
Part of the problem is not saying
Right.
anything, not doing anything.
Right.
Part of the solution is saying something and doing the best that you can.
You're so right. You're so right. Thank you for that. And I want to give each of you give you the two of you a chance to have a final word from you.
Gosh. I think I want to
briefly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just say that people of good conscience need to take action. They
Right.
need to speak up. They need to contest these lies. They need to say, this is not okay. This is not how we want things to go.
Amen. Amen. Ashe. Thank you so much, Kate and
Yeah.
Alexica.
Just to kind of echo what both of you guys have already said, it could be any action. We have to get involved and start, being part of the solution.
Just
And-
one thing. I don't want to hear about. I got a life. I got kids. I got this. All of us have lives, jobs,
right.
responsibilities,
Right.
And the things you want, you carve out the time for.
Right.
I want to be in this fight, so I carve out the time amongst the million other things that I have to do, just like you do, everybody else. So I don't want to hear I don't have the time. I can't find it. I got so much. I don't believe there's anybody that got more to do in their life than I got to do in mine.
Right. Well, I'm going to say
Well-
you're so right that there's lots of people, and we just I can tell you that what I tell people a lot of times, is I'm doing this for your kids. So I mean, people need to do it for our own loved ones. And we're all we're one in the spirit. So when we are hurting, when any one of us is hurting, we are all hurt. So, we've got that, we've got that to think of. We've got to really, first of all, I want to thank you all, each of you for coming out, for so much positive activity. As you say, you know, people can get involved. If you go to the Western New York Peace Center website, you'll see ways to get involved. Jails Justice Network is another, you know, there's so many. We have all kinds of collaborators, allies, partners, you know, so many other groups too, you know, Justice for Migrant Families that you just mentioned.
All the details for this event are at elbowsupforcanada.us.
Right.
And also you can go to the Friends Across Borders website.
And also the Western New York Peace Center has the basic information too. So I just want to say I'm grateful, so grateful for each one of you, for all you do and all you are, and for being here. And we're all in this together. This is Talking Peace, and together we've been talking peace in truth and love. That's a wrap.